Hi and welcome once again to Reflections. I'm enjoying sharing with you this special summer series on Psalm 139. It's the first time I'm doing anything like this online, and I trust that you are enjoying it as much as I am. Just learning about how God sees us and how God keeps his eye on us and how we can't do anything to escape from his gaze, from his view, from his presence is absolutely just comforting for my soul. I trust that it will be comforting for yours as well. This is Reflections, a 50-minute broadcast that's designed to bless, inspire, and encourage you to live for the Lord or in your walk with the Lord. And of course, we always ask, if you are not serving the Lord, would you please take time to search your heart and search yourself before him and do what is right before it is too late. If you are backslidden, please renew your faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. Do not live outside of his covering, his protection, or his salvation. And let God be to you all that he ever intended to be through his Son, Jesus Christ. We want to pick right up in number 4 of our series, our special summer series on Psalm 139, doing a verse by verse. And we hit verse number 11 today. 11. King James Version. If I say, says David, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. This is just an incredible verse, revealing something very, very powerful about God. And he says, look, here's the reality. If the darkness could fall upon me, and that's kind of what the word actually means, if it could cover me, suddenly move in upon me, overpower me, overcome me, he said the darkness should try to snatch me away from your presence, from God. He said all of it would be a waste of time, because as far as God is concerned, the night is just as bright as day. So nothing is hidden from God. For a wicked man, this is not a good thing, because wicked people tend to operate in secrecy and darkness. Even though it may be bright daylight, they try to operate covertly so nobody sees. But the reality is that God sees. Even if darkness could suddenly come to cover you, God would see everything as clearly as day. So there's nothing that could ever separate us from God, as the psalmist David is saying, because God sees the darkness and he sees the light, but he sees darkness just as clearly as he sees the light. There is no escape. Beloved, let me again bring this another shade of meaning. When you and I face our darkest hours, for God, the darkness that you are going through is no different than the light. He does not, his vision is not obscured from the dark things and the dark places that you're going through. And as we saw earlier in this psalm, he is with you wherever you are in your experience, wherever you are in your emotions, wherever you are in your mental state. God is with you. So this is just incredible to understand that even the night shall be light about us. When what we think is dark, what we think is horrible, God is there. He sees everything that is going on with you. He knows the thoughts of your heart. He knows the meaning behind the words that you may say or not even say. God knows all of that. Nothing is hidden from him. Everything is in plain sight. The thought continues in verse 12 of Psalm 139. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and light are both alike to thee. Things come into our lives that are difficult. Disappointments, the loss of loved ones, troubles, life troubles, the cares of life, providing for our families, etc., the loss of a loved one, theft, fire, all kinds of stuff come our way. All kinds of stuff come our way, yeah. And, we don't know quite how to deal with them. But as far as God is concerned, look, when you're going through darkness, when you're going through joys on the top of the mountain, no different to him. It doesn't change how he sees you. He doesn't change what he sees. As a matter of fact, you'll probably get greater compassion being expressed when you are in those dark periods, dark times in your life. But either way, God will treat you the same way in the light as he does in the darkness, because the darkness and the light are the same to him. He will not deal with you unfairly. He will not deal with you out of anger or out of frustration or disappointment. He will deal with you the same way all the time, because he is God. We are dealing with, as I said, a New Testament God rather than an Old Testament God. His dealings with us are different than back in the Old Testament under the law. We are always recipients of his grace. You know that at our best, we are still not good enough for God. At our worst, we are still not good enough for God. At the end of the day, if it wasn't for his grace, if it wasn't for his unconditional love, we would be nowhere at all, and we would have no hope or any chance at all whatsoever in life. Verse 13, thou hast possessed my reins. Thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I got to take a little water, if you will. Pardon me. I'm still dealing with my sinuses here. Anyway, the word reins actually mean kidneys. So, thou hast possessed my kidneys. Doesn't sound very good, does it? But essentially what it's talking about is that my inner parts. You possess my inner parts. You know what goes on inside of me. Anything that's in my mind, in my soul, in my spirit, my desires, my affections, my passions. God has possessed me in all that goes on inside of me. That's what the psalm is saying. That's what the psalmist is saying. So God made him. All right? God has covered him in his mother's womb. God made him, and therefore in the innermost recesses of his mother's womb, God knit him together. God knit us together. And if he put us together, then he must be able to understand everything about us. As I mentioned in more than one occasion, talking about the cell phone. The cell phone was designed by someone, and the person who designed it knows everything about it. The software that is used on the cell phone, somebody knows all about how it should work, how everything fits together. I remember when I was in, I believe it was Canada on one occasion, and we had a cell phone that something needed to be upgraded on it. We took it to this mall where this Asian guy literally picked the cell phone down to pieces and fixed it. And when he was pulling it apart and taking out these little screws from here, there, and everywhere, I was standing there saying, is he going to be able to get that back together? But the guy understood everything. He probably could do it in his sleep. He could probably do it in the dark. Just making an analogy there. Point is, he understood all the inner workings of the cell phone. He knew how to pull it apart. He knew how to put it back together. I have a brother who is very good with his hands. His name is David. And he knows how to fix machines and things like that. He can pick them down and put them back together. I find it incredible. I certainly couldn't do it. But he has this ability, this gift to be able to pull things apart and put them back together. I think that's absolutely incredible. So thou hast covered me in my mother's womb, meaning that you have knit me together. You've knit me together like how you would do a carpet, a rug. Weave me together in my mother's womb. This is fantastic. So what the psalmist is saying is, look, God, you made everything about me, and therefore you have to understand everything about me. And I think that is absolutely. So he knows how human beings work. He knows how you and I work. And as he has knit us together in our mother's womb, he knows how you think. He knows how you operate. So when things go wrong, he already knows how to fix. He knows how to sort it out and get it back on the right track. Again, I tell you, if you've not been encouraged by this teaching on Psalm 139. Something got to be wrong with you. But this is just an incredible reaffirmation, reconfirmation of the love that God has for us, the knowledge that God has of us, and how no matter what we do, no matter where we turn, no matter where we try to hide, no matter who tries to remove us from Him, the reality is God's power is there for you and I. God's knowledge is there of you and I. We can't disappoint Him. We can't let Him down. He already knows all this. And yet God has chosen to save your soul. God has chosen to open His door of salvation for you to receive and to benefit from. And let me tell you, you know, that's why God will never change in the way He deals with us, because He knew the end from the beginning. When He formed you in your mother's womb, He understood everything about you. As it says, He has possessed your kidneys, your inner parts. He knows you. He's covered you in your mother's womb. He's knit you together in your mother's womb, and therefore He understands how you work. He understands how you think. He understands your frailties, your weaknesses, your shortcomings. God understands all of that already, and it will not change the way He thinks about us, the way He deals with us, the way He cares for us, and the way He provides for us. So the psalmist at this point gets to the stage where he just says, look, I'm going to praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knows right well. I am fearfully, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And when you think about it, the psalm just bursts into praise, giving glory to God. He says, boy, this is just phenomenal what you've done. And essentially, when he says, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, this I love. I love this. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. He's saying here that the way you made me, you've distinguished me from any other part of creation. And you know very well that God has created some incredible things and incredible spaces on the earth, etc., etc. God has done all of that for us. And here's the reality of what the psalmist is saying. So when I look at the stars, the cosmos, when I look at the animals, the plants, and the earth, the world that you have made, and then I look at me, a human being. I look at how you've knit me together, woven me together, put me together. Let me give it to you as it is, but in modern language. You have made something awesome. That's what the psalmist is saying. What you have done in creating me inspires awe. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are awesome. You are above all of God's creation. And when you look at God's creation, it is absolutely incredible. And God made you higher than it all. And truthfully, there is no better word to describe God's creation of humankind. It is, I am awesome. You are awesome. Let me tell you, and this is not the way the young people use it. This is truly awe-inspiring. That is how God made us. Listen, when you stop and consider this, I'm not going to go on to the next part because time is running out. I don't want to go over time. But listen, just sufficient to say, listen, when you get out of bed in the morning and you have your morning face and you've got boogers in your eyes and all kinds of stuff, thing stuck onto your face that came out of your mouth during the night, you know what I'm talking about. Your breath is enough to cook a fish. Listen, God looks at you and says, you're awesome. And you can go and look in the mirror and see nothing good, but still declare, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am awesome. God made me awesome, wonderful, fantastic, above, a little lower than the angels. That is how awesome I am. Beloved, not just you, me too. All of us are awesome. Listen, I'll come back next week and go on with this special summer series on Psalm 139. This is Reflections. We'll see you in a couple of days.